All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. All right, double honors to the apostles, elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to you, Akim, pushing the work in truth and in sincerity. All right, of course, bringing forth the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai. That testimony is the spirit of prophecy. All right, prophecy meaning to say before. All right, and kind of want to get straight into this. All right, the name of this lesson is "This is Big Time Spiritual." All right. And I just kind of want to touch on some things that, of course, that's been happening as of late. A lot of signs, a lot of spiritual things that's taking place. Because, we're always talking about the times that we're headed into. And those times are, you know, uh, those times are here. Okay. Um, and, as far as where we go from here, is staying locked in. All right. Because we're going to see some things that is going to definitely rattle some cages, All right. And I'm not talking about, the ones that's grounded in this truth and truly worshiping the Father in spiritual spirit and in truth, but it's going to rock and ruffle some feathers of some of those who aren't grounded. All right. Um, a lot of people you know, took for granted what we've been saying about Babylon and what's going to happen to this place, and that's to their own detriment. All right, the scripture here says, "Wisdom cry without." Let's see, this is Proverbs chapter 1. All right, very basic, you know, but very important. Okay, wisdom warns, right? Wisdom warns. Okay, and the Lord has given us a spirit of, His wisdom. All right, and this message ain't, this ain't um, a message that's only for, joy and this is a message of you know, as the scriptures say, lamentation, mourning, and woe. And this is what we've been warning, and there's so much of it, it's almost like, is there a balance in it? The scriptures are for sure a balance. You get the good with the bad with the good. But what we're about to, witness, we're gonna see the bad, before we get to see the good. All right. And it says here, wisdom warns. It says Proverbs 1:20. It says, "Wisdom cried without; she uttered her voice in the streets." All right. Now, wisdom is the prophets. All right. The Lord is speaking through the prophets, His men. All right. Okay, who you would liken unto fire, ministers of fire, all right. Uh, because as the scriptures say, the Lord prophesied, who can but warn, or the lion hath roared, who can but warn. That's in Amos. All right, and that's what we're doing. Okay, and the Lord has extended, His hand through His prophets. All right, through correction and you know through correction and not reproach, but what's the other word for correction? I forget. I don't know why I forget, but mainly through correction. Of course, because the Lord wants us to, you know, it's essentially likened unto an adorning, as a woman or a bride. All right, and then just speaking in terms of how the Lord wants his chosen. All right, to be a certain way. Okay. But I digress. Salak is Proverbs 1:21. It says, "She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity?" All right. And the scorners delight in their scorning. All right. And fools hate knowledge. Okay. And for the most part, the Spirit is on us to address, our people of their folly and their transgressions. All right, to correct them, to get them right. All right, because wisdom warns. All right. Okay, so moving on. All right. Um, verse 23, turn you at my reproof. That's the word, reproof, not reproach. I don't know why I was thinking reproach, but turn you at my reproof, right? So the Lord has set us up for reproof and correction. Okay. And that's just the truth when you look at, the examples of men in of the ancient world. All right, concerning the prophets. I mean, anyone that the Lord has used, He's always used them to bring forth correction and, reproof, as it says here, to warn. He's always sent those to warn. All right, and it's no different with us. Okay, all right, and in hell, we're a stumbling block to most people, and and that's on purpose. Okay, because what's about to come up the pipe, right, is going to be pure judgment. All right, and we got to take it as such. Okay, and it's going to get bad out here, and we seeing the signs that's leading up to it. We're seeing the things that's manifesting itself, making it more evident that the so-called white man, who is the devil according to the Bible, nothing big, he the devil, you know. And I'm sure they pride themselves on being that way. All right, so there's nothing wrong with that. You the devil, and the devil he is going to pretty much have authority to do his thing in the earth, make his way, all right, or have his way in the earth, all right. And the Lord is going to allow him to do so, okay. And the only way you protect it from the wrath of the devil as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, is if you are protected by the Spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right. Okay. So turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. And he's done that through his prophets. All right. Isaiah 30 and 20. Okay. It's very important. This message, right, it was not for you to receive to, you know, um, with the intent that, this was an invitation to a party, to some big Israelite party every weekend, you know, and drinking and all of this madness, which is mirth. All right. This is definitely a time of a mourning. This is a time where you're supposed to be getting your house in order. All right. This is a time where you're supposed to have great fear. This is a time where you're not supposed to be making provision for the flesh. This is the time where you're supposed to lock in. All right. And as hard as it might be, all right, um, you still, you gotta fight for it. It's all about fighting for it. Okay. And we're in a sure fight. And that's without a shadow of doubt. This is a sure fight. So this is Isaiah 30. And let's see here. I can start at 19. For the people shall dwell in Zion, all right, at Jerusalem, which is a future prophecy. Thou shalt weep no more. All right. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. All right. And the cry is going out right now. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee. All right. Okay. And those who are sincerely and worshiping the Lord in spirit and in truth and seeking the Lord in these times of crying upon the Lord, he's not going to forsake you. Right. These are the times that the Lord is about to show his strength. All right. And his hand is not short that he cannot save, as the scriptures say. Verse 20. All right. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, all right, because that's what we've been going through, a whole lot of adversity, a whole lot of affliction. Okay. And to think it's going to get worse, right? And that kind of would make you mad if you don't understand. That kind of can frustrate you. But you have to understand the will of the Heavenly Father. This is what alleviates that, that pain or reality of, damn, this ain't going to end yet. We got to go through more. Yes. All right. Through much tribulation, as it says in Acts, shall we enter into the kingdom. All right. Tough pill to swallow. but it's just one of the things, many things that you have to deal with. All right. That's the reality. There's no way around it. It says, yes, shall, and you just got to come to wraps with that, or come, have peace with that. This is and that's why you count the cost. It says, yes, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. This is heavy. All right. Because the teachers, the men of the Lord who are set up, they're set up for you to essentially pull you out of the fire. And what I mean by that, the Lord's line of fire is judgment. That's about to come. Okay. Because it's going to come. And we're seeing the signs. And, I got a few like clips and things I'm sure brothers touched on. I'm kind of late coming with this one. I was going to do it, but I was going to do this lesson a few days ago, but I couldn't really get around to it. So it says, yes, shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore. So in that right there, that deserves a whole lot of praise. The fact that the Lord has set up his men, man, it means a whole lot. Okay. That means grace, so that's definitely not, or something that we take light of. All right. It says, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way, walk ye in it, when ye turn to the right hand and when ye turn to the left. Okay. And so you're going to have, and you do have, all right, the teachers, the prophets, the men of the Lord, who are essentially leading the sheep. All right. Not leading them astray, but leading the sheep. Okay. All right. And looking out for the sheep. All right. And teaching us the right way. All right. That's what the men of the Lord are there for. All right. And that is your peace. That's your peace. The correction and the reproof is your peace. Is to get you back. All right. In line. It's like a cattle prod. Okay. It's like a cattle prod to keep you in order, to keep you in line. So scriptures talk about the chastening of the Lord. All right. It's what it say is grievous. All right. But it yields the peaceable, or it says let patience have his perfect work. But yeah, not to go too far. I mean, I know I'm kind of veering off just a little bit, but this is Proverbs 1, back in Proverbs 1. All right. And 23, turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. And the Lord has made known his words unto us. All right. Now, okay, concerning the times. All right. Because forget, you know, the notion or the thought that, oh, these things are coming. Well, these things are here. Right. We look no further. Okay. Look no further. All right. Let me mute this. Fair use, fair use. For educational purposes only. All right. So check this out. All right. He dancing with the sword in his hand. All right. To the YMCA song. Okay. Now it may not be nothing on the surface. All right. To most. All right. But to some, those that have a spiritual eye, it means a whole lot more. All right. Uh, than you see on the surface. Okay. This is, huge signs. All right. And we're going to get more. Yeah. So, I mean, take it as you will. All right. Okay. First and foremost, that's an Edomite with a sword. Right. And we know that the sword is, Salaki, the sword, okay, is his blessing. All right. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. The sword is his blessing. Okay. All right. So that's a huge sign because what you got one in Revelations, all right, but you got the blessing itself, which here, okay, the Lord blessed Esau. Okay, let me see here. All right, there's a Hebrews. I think so. 11 and 20. I always bring this out, Hebrews 11 and 20, because it's important to understand that, the blessings that Isaac gave Jacob and Esau, because those blessings are very profound. All right. They're very important. All right. Once you understand the volume of the book, some things are more important than other things in the scriptures. And Esau's blessing is one of the top things you understand. All right. In this knowledge, all right, it's one of the main things because what we're actually, seeing him kind of, he's been had his blessing, but now it means so much more because essentially they're about to fight for their position or to maintain their position in the world, and it's prophesied that they were going to be taken out of that position. All right, in short, the Lord was going to get rid of Esau. All right, but also the Lord is using him for a certain bidding. Okay, because all right, Hebrews 11 and 20, Salaki, I digress. It says, by faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. All right. So what was Esau's blessing? All right, the sword. Okay, and when you go into it, right, and I'm gonna try not to be long. When you go into it, all right, Genesis 27 and 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, and thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. All right. So when you're looking at prophecy here, all right, it's saying a lot. All right. And then the line upon line is talking about different time. It could be talking about different time periods. All right, which this is. All right. It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Now that blessing has always been Esau's blessing. Okay. But now that we're at the end, that blessing is uh, more profound, all right, and it's going to be put more to use, all right. So we're going to deal line upon line, all right, and mainly the points that I want to bring out here is I'll read 39, but I want to put emphasis on the sword, and thou shalt thou live, all right. Okay, it says that Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, all right, meaning that he was going to have the riches of the earth. All right, he was going to have plenty. Okay, and as Esau, Edom, they have everything. Okay, they colonize almost every continent. They've taken all the resources, any resource any in the world. You better believe the so-called white man, the Edomites, are occupying it. That's without a shadow of a doubt. All right, they have the most military bases all over the world. And when it comes to military, is occupation occupations is involved. Okay, all right. It says, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, right, the most rich parts. It says, and of the dew of heaven, and of the dew of heaven from above. All right, because the dew, it covers everything, and that's what Esau does. He covers everything. All right, he has everything. Okay, verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Okay. So when you go into the word sword, all right, the word here is charab, charab. All right. Now it says what? Sword, knife, tools for cutting stone. Okay, that's the surface. But when you go into the root word here, harab, all right, it says, here, I get straight to here, i.e., by analogy, to desolate, destroy, kill, decay, be desolate, destroy, all right, destroy your, okay, because that's what he is, all right, be dry up, slay, surely, lay, lie, make, waste. So to lay waste, lie waste, or to make waste, all right, essentially that's what that sword is, okay, and this is how he's going to sustain life, okay, all right, and he's going to be given the ultimate authority in these times to do what he will, okay, what he's of course within the confines of the Lord of the will, I mean the Lord's will, Slakia, okay, all right, so we looked up sword. Now the word live here is haya, with or chaya, which means here I want to get, well, when you read most of this, it fits exactly what he's doing, all right, or how he's using that sword, right? It says to live, have life, remain alive, sustain life, live prosperously, all right? Nobody lives more prosperously through wasting than so-called white people in their military industrial complexes, all right? So what do they do when they during their military or theater wars, all right? Uh, they confiscate resources. Not only that, put they they put nations into debt. All right, they put in central banks. Okay, and everybody is subject to the dollar. Okay, all right. It says live forever, be quickened, be alive, be restored to life or health. To live, all right, to have life. Okay, and this is what Isaac promised or blessed Esau with. Okay, it only makes sense. All right. So through wasting, all right, or through the sword, okay, they're able to maintain life, okay, a lifestyle, all right. And as we can see, that's why the military campaigns never stop with the so-called white man. They've been at war for hundreds of years. It has never stopped. Okay. All right. And you'll never see peace. Okay. So let's move on. All right. We got some more stuff. Okay. I want to show you. Right. So we've seen the Edomite with a sword. Okay. You might take it light, but that's not a light thing. I personally believe that's a sign attributed to their, the blessing, but more so, all right, what they're lining up to do as of late. All right. But we're
going to give immunity to police so they can do their job. I'm giving federal immunity to police officers so they can do their job.
All right. So that's what he promised. Federal immunity, all right, to police. And we've seen this, So I mean, with this, you kind of just connect the dots. All right. Another thing that I caught here, like I said, nothing too deep, and I'm trying not to be too long. So this is the coat of arms, right? And normally, the coat of arms is slightly different. All right, it's presented slightly different. All right, to the American people, and this is normal. I mean, well, um, this is how it's been presented for some time now. All right, the eagle's face towards the olive branch, which represents peace. All right, but then you see here that eagle's head is turned to its left. All right. When you go into the left, I think it's Insidious or something like that. I had something on there. Let me see. All right. Here we go. Okay. So I just typed in, uh, what is the meaning of, the coat of arms, the arrows on the coat of arms. All right. And it says here, the Great Seal, thegreatseal.com. And it pretty much breaks it down. All right. None too big, none too shabby. Right. The bundle of 13 arrows in the eagle's left talon on the U.S. seal. Arrows were first suggested by Francis Hopkinson, the consultant and artist on the Second Great Seal Committee. All right. In his preliminary design, one of the figures supporting the shield was an Indian warrior holding a bow and arrow and carrying a quiver of arrows, shown here to your left, right here. All right. It says the other figure was a lady representing peace, bearing an olive branch. Okay, so the arrows, all right, would represent essentially it would represents war, and then the olive branch represents peace. Okay, beneath them was a Latin motto that meant prepared in war or in peace. All right, and you look at this and you tell me what times we're in. Okay. Okay. So if you thought that things weren't changing in the world and things weren't heightening in the world and things are becoming more dangerous, well, look again. All right. Because those things are very real. Okay. And those are just small signs to pay attention to. When Charles Thomas put together the final design for the Great Seal, he placed a bundle of arrows in the eagle's left sinister. All right, sinister. Keep in mind that talon. All right, because those talons are very sharp. Okay, the eagle itself is very symbolic. All right, okay. And I was looking that up a few days ago. The symbolism of the eagle. And it's all predicated on conquering and moving swiftly from one end of the earth to the next. All right, which represents Esau and how his imperial ways, I guess you could say. But of course, we know that eagle goes back to Rome. It goes back to um, Greece. All right, or the Greeks. Okay, which were Edomite dominated, or that was the Edomites empires. Okay. And so there's nothing new under the sun. All right. Okay. Because what? America and the Western civilization is the new Rome. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna copy this. Because this is all leading to what? Ultimately, this is leading to a tyranny. All right. As the elders would say, tyranny. Okay. But here, the word sinister, prompted by malice or ill will, false, dishonest, intending to mislead. So this is what they're setting up for. All right. And we know these ain't nothing but a bunch of witches and warlocks who uh, they're heavy into witchcraft. America's heavy into witchcraft and rituals. All right. And they've been doing their rituals. All right. Especially coming into this year. And they've been doing them a lot more heavy. Okay. So yeah, expect more distractions. Expect more spirits push. Demonic spirits pushing on you. Weighing your spirit down more and more. Like I said, this is a real fight. All right. So here it says, with Justin's report. Let me see. Sinister contrary. Okay. Contrary. So its head is towards its contrary, its sinister talon. Okay. Which is those arrows, which represents essentially, of course, it represents war. All right. So moving on, right? This is the official description specifies the bald eagle holding in his sinister a bundle of 13 arrows. Okay. And you know that word 13 goes back to uh, that's symbolic too. All right. For Esau and essentially, you know, whatever covert meaning that they have back. I don't know exactly what it is right now. I think it's the 13. It could be the 13 families, the 13 tribes, or whatever the case may be, you know. But of course, they deal in symbolism. All right. So just a little bit more on it. It says the official explanation describes the symbolism. The olive branch and arrows denote the power of peace and war, which is exclusively vested in Congress. So, what do you think these Edomites are gearing up for in these politics? All right, okay, because they're going to use Congress to pass what certain laws, right? And over the time they've been essentially gearing up, all right, for domestic war. Okay, all right. I believe it was Obama that made every citizen enemy combatant. I don't know exactly which. Um, I don't know exactly which law or executive order that he passed. Okay, but U.S. citizens are enemy. Oops. Let's see here. Oops. I remember it happened under Barack Hussein. All right, it happened under his administration. Okay, executive order. All right, and so let me see detention persons as enemy belligerents. All right. Enemy combatants, anti-terrorism, and preservation of civil liberties in response to these executive orders. Let's see here. Here. And bear with me for a second too. All right. CRS report for Congress. Let's see through. All right, what year is this? This is during enemy combatants. This report, which will be updated as necessary, analysts the authority to detain American citizens who are suspected of being members, agents, and associates of Al Qaeda, the Taliban, and possibly other terrorist organizations. Of course, they amended it probably and updated the you know the jargon, I guess you could say, for lack of better words. Enemy combatants. The Department of Justice cities or cites 2 World War II era cases. Ex parte quirin and in derito to support its contention that the president may order that U.S. or that certain U.S. citizens as well as non-citizens be held as enemy combatants pursuant to the law of war and Article 2 of the Constitution. Critics, however, question the assertion of executive authority to detain U.S. citizens. And that's what they were doing during those, there was protests, okay? I guess it was protests. It was like the 90% versus the 5% or the 10% protests against banks a few years back, maybe a decade ago. It says without ordinary due process of law, right? We've seen that happen. Okay, in order to prevent terrorist acts or gather intelligence. So we're coming into times where that's going to be the norm. All right, they're going to be calling everything terror a terror attack, and of course the rhetoric and the new boogeyman is going to be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, and of course, what we do, they're going to deem it as what do you call it? I just had the word in my head. They're going to deem what we do as treasonous, right? But we're prisoners of war. It's impossible to, for us to be treasonous. All right, when we're still being held in captivity, and of course they've taken our nationality and who we are as a people. All right, and kept it from us and paid top dollar to keep us asleep and keep us distracted by the flood of decadence in which they kind of perpetuate, not kind of, that they perpetuate to us daily, every hour of the day through entertainment. All right. So I mean, it's more on it, and this ain't the article I'm actually looking for, but I know President Obama signed something protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security. Um, Here, let me see some. Judge blocks president executive order doing away with birthright citizenship, blatantly unconstitutional. Damn, he going after people that's born to immigrants that who are from immigrants who were born in America. But yeah, man, what's about to happen is what, okay, it's going to be tyranny. All right, okay. So we don't live in those hunky dory times, happy times. We live in war times now. All right. So it says in heraldry, the symbol in a figure's right hand is more significant than the one in its left hand. All dies of the Great Seal have shown the American eagle facing the olive branch on its right side, further emphasizing the power of peace. The eagle on the seal of the president, however, used to face the arrows. Charles Thompson specified a bundle of arrows, and in his preliminary sketch above showed the 13 arrows tightly aligned, a symbol of strength and unity that's found in the traditional cultures everywhere, from the Romans to the I don't know how to say that. Slacky. Then I got a dry throat right now. It's just crazy. So yeah, so this is definitely pointing to war times. Okay. All right, which is going to lead us to what? Tyranny and what? A draconian laws. Okay. Because if you thought immigration was where it's going to stop, ICE police, raiding, so-called immigrants. We're going to say so-called immigrants. They ain't really immigrants because they're native to this land. All right. Hypothetically speaking, truthfully speaking, right? But all this is setting up is what? Esau coming in with great wrath. All right. And they've been, these Edomites have been up in an uproar about this whole immigration thing. And don't believe, well, don't think for a second that they have stopped crying about you so-called Negroes, all right, taking over and, taking jobs and things like that, you know, because they really believe that they should have the privilege where they can enjoy this country, quote unquote, they say our country, right? So Revelations 12:12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right. So they're scrambling for because they don't have no time. All right. And they believe that it's deep down, they're in fear of losing, okay, uh, this great land, America. But you ain't gonna lose it to immigrants. I'll tell you that right now. You're definitely not gonna lose it to no immigration, no goddamn immigration. All right. So you're gonna lose it a whole entirely different way. This is draconian. It says of or pertaining to Draco, the ancient Greek statesman. All right, in reference to laws. It says rigorous, extremely severe, or harsh, because this is what's coming up the pike. Because if you thought the raids was going to just stop and, over time, you're talking about millions of people. Okay. And then on top of that, he's giving them immunity, federal immunity. All right. So they're going to be allowed to do it essentially how they're going to carry out certain raids how they want. And then if you think it's not going to transfer over from uh, the ones they hate now, which is the immigrants, they're the face of, uh, you know, uh, they're the criminals now, because everybody that's an immigrant is criminals according to Esau. That's just how he gets down. You know, uh, none of those people are over here trying to work for a better life. They're just criminals according to that's how Esau. That's the language they use, which is very harmful. But that's their intent. They want that effect. Okay, but that's going to transfer over to you Negroes, man. All right. Okay, because if you thought for a second that they stopped crying about niggas, well, you mistaken. Okay, because they're gonna target Jake. All right, Jake is gonna be all right. The face of terror. Okay, like we once were. All right, when we were enslaved, when we could absolutely do no terror to these people, not on a significant level. All right, at all. Okay, it says Draco is the Latinized form of Greek Dracon, name of the Archon of Athens, who laid down a code of laws for Athens, 621 BCE, the mandate that mandated death as punishment, and that's coming for minor crimes. All right, this is coming. All right, okay, because things are going to get really severe, and these devils, the Edomites, they're going to show their true colors. Right, no nonsense. Overbearing, uh, you know, um, hell, he's giving IRS agents guns to go to the border. So he's be putting these federal workers back to work. You can't work from home no more. All right, you know. So and this is going to cause for a time in which we have never seen. All right, Daniel 12:1, and at that time, right. So this is just a prerequisite, all right, okay, for lack of better words. This is just the pre-trial, okay, for what is going to be a snowball effect that's going to affect you so-called the Southern Kingdom, which is the Negroes, all right, you you darker brothers, okay, because if we don't see color, Esau see color, right, and they hate any color that ain't them, all right. So Salakia, throat really dry. It says, and at that same time shall Michael stand up, the great prince we're standing for the children of thy people, because it's going to get really ugly and they're going to target us. They're going to accuse us. All right. And we're going to need help. We're going to need help from on high. You better believe it. Right. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, all right, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Okay. But we're going to need saving. All right. Of course, the scriptures say in Isaiah 59:19, I'm going to have to close out too. Okay. That the Lord's going to lift up a standard. They're going to come in as a flood, and the Lord's going to lift up a standard against them. Okay. And this is definitely setting up, just how these Edomites are posturing. Okay. How they moving in, what the symbols they're projecting to the public openly. It shows you that they're going to, for the future, they're definitely going to be posturing themselves in a way that's going to be very violent, all right, and aggressive towards everyone else. Biden warns America's soul at stake as Trump comeback looms, right? And they always posture and make it seem like they're against each other. But these presidents actually set up the next president to come to bring in more of certain laws, to bring in a certain agenda. All right. Let's lock it. All right. I want to try to kind of get exactly what he said. U.S. President Joe Biden warned Wednesday that the soul of America is still at stake as he prepared to deliver a farewell address to the nation before the return of Donald Trump. The 82-year-old Democrat will make a primetime speech from the Oval Office of the White House, in which Biden is expected to tout the legacy of his single term in power. All right. Ahead of the address at 8 p.m. All right. You imagine Biden with his reputation sending the American people a warning. All right. Biden also released a letter to the American people, which delivered an implicit swipe at Republican Trump. I ran for president because I believed that the soul of America was at stake. It says the very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case, Biden said in the letter. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. Right? A bunch of blase, blase, blase. All right. Okay. It says we just have to keep the faith and remember who we are. He said. Biden said the United States was stronger than 4 years ago, when it stood in winter apparel after Trump's chaotic first term, the COVID demic, and what he called the worst attack on our democracy since Civil War. Right? It's going to be even worse. All right. Biden was sworn in just okay. So okay, but yeah, okay. So he says that, which, I mean, if you got your spiritual eyes open, you could see, where this place is headed. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Lord willing, this is edifying. And just be on the lookout, because there's more things to come. There's more to pray about. There's more to be watchful about. So with that, I'm gonna give all praises, all honor, and glory to Yahweh, Sham Yahweh Shai, Shem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles, elders at Great Millstone. All right, Shalom Bakarim, or Ha Bakarim. All right, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.